Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you're all doing well. Let me know if you can hear me. Just give me a thumbs up in the comments if you don't mind. I just tested something. I want to make sure the audio is working well. Today we got a good one. Multi-candidate areas. Just let me know if you can hear me in the comments. Okay, we're going to talk about 3 workouts sequentially leading into your goal race. Let's just say it's the goal race at the end of the season, right? And we're going to do 800 mile, 2 mile, 5K. Okay. And when I do 18, 11, and 4, okay, 18 days out, 11 days out, thank you, Kenny, and 4 days out. Okay, I'm sticking with, let's just say Tuesday, Friday workout schedule because it works best sequentially with what the training that I put forth every week. So, and let's just say you work out Tuesday, Friday, non-race week, you race Tuesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Saturday, in race week. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, it's going to be 11 days out, 18 days out, 11 days out, 4 days out from your goal race, and what it tells us. Well, number one, did you do all the stuff leading up to it? This is a kind of putting the icing on the cake cycle to lead you into your peak race, your goal race of the season, right? With states, nationals, NCAAs, whatever it might be. But obviously, in order for the cycle to work its best, you need to be doing the work leading up to it consistently before that, in cross, in track, and so on, right? Consistent training on a regular basis. That's what's going to really get you fit enough to take advantage of cycles like this. Okay. And again, I talk about this a lot. Are you fit enough and are you sharp enough? Okay. You're generally not going to take advantage of the sharpness unless you're fit enough to do it. And these workouts, and all the stuff that I talk about on a regular basis and the content we talk about is putting you in a position to be in the front of a race and out kicking people in the front, not out kicking people in the back or in the middle, or working your way towards the front over time and getting better just gradually, whether you're high school or college. So it's something to keep in mind, okay? By the way, if it's your first time here, welcome as always. And again, please make sure you do 2 things. Hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't done that yet, if you're an athlete or a coach. Okay. And if you do subscribe, just turn on your notifications. That way you'll know when we go live. And I go live every Sunday morning here at 9 a.m. Eastern. And I thank you so much for it. Now, let's get right into this, okay? As always, a good warm-up, drills and strides, transitional piece before the workout, and so on. Now, let's talk about 800 meters first. 18 days out, okay? Tuesday, 3 weeks out. The workout is a 1,200 at your goal mile pace. Okay, you take a 5-minute recovery. And then you do 3 times a 400 after that with a 3-minute recovery. Okay, at goal mile pace to goal 800-meter pace. Get progressively faster. Okay, you can obviously do a second workout in that week, but the key piece here is the 1,200 meters. Are you fit enough to come through 1,200 at mile pace, at your goal mile pace? Okay, 3 weeks out. Now, 11 days out, which is the perfect time to test your ability or your readiness for the goal race. Okay, and these are, let's just say this is Tuesday. You can do 600-meter rep at goal 800-meter pace. So if you're looking to break 2 minutes, can you come through in 129, 130? If you're looking to break 230, right, can you come through in 151, 152, and so on and so forth? If you're looking to break 220, can you come through in 144 to 145 and continue to keep going? Take a 6-minute recovery after that, and then you finish it off with 4 times 200 with a 1-minute recovery at your goal 800-meter pace or faster. So again, if you're looking to run 2 minutes, right, you're running these in, let's just say 28, 29, try to finish in 27 if you can. Remember the 1-minute recovery. You don't want to try to simulate the back end of this range as much as you possibly can. Okay, but the key piece here is the 600. Okay, and the week of, the Tuesday week of, we go threshold 4 times 800 with a 1-minute recovery at threshold pace. We slow things down. Okay, you take a 3-minute rest after the last one, but then you do 3 times 150 with a 3-minute recovery after each one at 400-meter pace. Okay, so let's see if you notice the cycle here. 18 days out, you go a distance up. You test your strength at the mile. 11 days out, you test your readiness for the goal race. 4 days out, you go threshold to kind of put the legs back under you, and then you test your speed the week of. Okay, your speed faster than race pace. So you test your strength, readiness, and race pace speed or racing speed. Okay, 1 distance up, 1 distance at, 1 distance below. Okay, that's your goal 800-meter race. And you let me know in the comments if this makes sense. Obviously, if you have a second workout in the week, you do what you see fit. If you have a race, then you do that. Okay. But this is a perfect 18-day, 11-day, and 4-day cycle. At this point, you're testing your readiness. So not every workout right now needs to be high volume. Okay. Want to test your ability. And again, what you do before this is going to determine how ready you are, how strong you are, how sharp you are, and how fast you are. Okay. That's 800 meters. Okay. Now, again, this is the one. If you and if you're ready, okay. And a lot of folks too run an 800, they'll come back in a 4x8, or sometimes they run an 800 and a 4x4, or an 800 and 1K, or 800 in a mile, whatever it might be. They say these workouts determine whether you're strong enough to move up or strong enough to double, okay, whether you're fast enough to move down. Okay, that's another reason why these workouts are as is. Okay, stepping up one, staying at, stepping down one. This gets you ready for either one. 800 4x4, 800 2 mile, 800 mile, 800 4x8, whatever it might be. Okay. And again, at this point, if you've done the work, and a lot of this development should be aerobic development consistently over time throughout each season and so on. Okay, that's going to continue to accumulate. It's going to continue to compound. It's going to make you fit enough to not only run the first race well, but run the second race well, and so on. Okay, now let's move up. Let's talk about the 1500 and the mile. Okay, as always, again, like I always say, good warm up drills and strides, right? Transitional piece. Okay, before we go any further, we got comments here. What happens in situations where you test your fitness and fall short of these goals? Then you modify. Okay, but you'll know too. That's a good question too, Month Kenny. Have you been doing what you need to do up to this point that's putting you in a position to test your fitness? Okay, have you been doing stuff at your goal 800-meter pace, or stuff at your goal mile pace, stuff at the equivalent mile pace based on your goal mile pace, and so on? Okay, this is why training at the important, and I'll get this off the screen for 1 second here. This is a really good question. This is why training at these paces on a consistent basis is so important. Okay, so if the goal is, and I'm just going to use sub 2 minutes as an example because it's a flat number. Are you doing the stuff at the equivalent mile pace of 800 for sub 2 minutes? Are you doing obviously work at sub 2 minute pace? Are you also doing stuff at the equivalent 400-meter pace at sub 2 minutes? Okay, and again, sometimes you will fall short, but this cycle, like I said, works best if you're doing all the training leading up to it. Okay, and if you're coming off cross country and you're fit, you have a long indoor season, right, to get yourself ready. And are you doing the right workouts leading up to this cycle as well? Okay, because like I said too, if the goal is 800, are you strong enough to step up to the longer distances? Are you fast enough to step down to the shorter distances? It's accumulation of this work done over time. Okay, but that's an important question too. Obviously, and you modify if you see fit. But if you've gone from, let's just say it's 220, and the goal is 2 minutes, but you're falling short and you're only running 204, that's a pretty big improvement from 220 to 204, right? Or whatever it might be. I'm just using that as an example. Or 5 minutes in a mile, your goal was 440, but you're only running 442. That's a nice progression too. If you're running 440 and your goal is 420, you're only running 426. That's still a good progression. You're trending in the right direction. Okay. And these workouts, if you don't hit them on the button in the indoor season, you work towards hitting them on the button in the outdoor season. This just gives you a template to use, but it's what you do leading up to that point. Okay, that's important. And again, keep this in mind as well. Are you doing the workouts? Are you racing so much that you're not able to get the workouts you need to get in? This is also an important component here, and it's an important thing to ask. There's more often than not, I speak to athletes and coaches who race an awful lot. And I understand you're in an area where you have to race a lot. But does that mean you're not getting the training that you need to get in to achieve these goals? Because at some point, you'll race yourself into fitness, but you can also race yourself out of sharpness as well. At some point, you've got to do the work that's going to get you to the goal, right? So just a thought. But that's an important question, Walter Kenny. And you adjust as you see fit. Adjust as you see fit. Now, obviously, as a coach, you're looking for your athletes to be heading in the right direction. So whatever the milestone is, whatever the goal is, obviously, you sit down with your athletes to make sure it's, if you think it's a doable goal, say, okay, it's a doable goal. Like 5 minutes to 4:30, that's a pretty ambitious goal, right? I'm not saying you can't do it. It's possible, but let's incrementally get there. Let's get to 450 first. Let's get to 440 first. And then each time you get to the new milestone, you adjust the training paces. Because that's the only time that adjusting training pace or intensifying training paces is important or makes sense. If you have races to back it up, if you have time trials to back it up, you can increase volume of training, but generally you're not going to increase intensity of training unless you get to a new milestone. Then you're ready to take the next leap in your training. Okay, so let's get back to this again. 1,500 mile. So 18 days out, 3 weeks out on Tuesday, we're going to test your readiness for 3K, right? So it's a 2K rep at your goal 3K pace. You need to know what it feels like to come through 2K at 3K pace or 2-mile pace and keep going, right? You take a 6-minute active recovery, and then you do 4 times a 500 with a 130 recovery, and you progress from 3K pace down to mile pace. Okay, the volume of the workout, 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles, right? So that's 18 days out. 11 days out, okay, this is when you're going to test your readiness for the actual goal race. You did a 1,200 meter rep at your goal of 1,500 or mile pace. Remember, this is what you did 18 days out for the 800 meters. Now you're going to do it 11 days out for the mile because it's your goal race. Okay, 1,200 at your goal mile pace, 5-minute recovery, then 4 times the 400 instead of 3. You take a 2-minute recovery. The recovery is a little bit differently here too because the goal race is different. So 4 times 400 with a 2-minute recovery at your goal mile pace, progressing down to goal 800 meter pace. Okay. Add it up. What is it? 16, a little under 2 miles worth of volume. Okay. And the volume at this point doesn't matter so much. It's what you do to test your readiness for your goal race. Okay. And then the week of, 4 days out, 4 times 1K with a 1-minute recovery at threshold pace. You'd be shocked at slowing things down at threshold pace, leading into a faster race, a 800 or mile race. How much it does, how much good it does. So 4 times 1K with a 1-minute threshold pace. You take 3 minutes after the last rep, and then you do 2 times a 300, 2-minute recovery at your goal 800 meter pace. Okay, so there it is. You step up in distance 18 days out. You test your readiness 11 days out. You step down in distance when it comes to running fast 4 days out after threshold. But only not enough volume that's going to take anything out of your legs so you can race 4 days later. So that's your 1,500 to the mile goal race. Again, let me know if this makes sense. If you're understanding the sequence of it. Okay, each week you get progressively faster, and that's the whole point, to get you ready, going from strength to speed, leading into your goal race. Okay, and at the week of, the speed you're going to do is not even enough to match the volume of your goal race. Okay, so this is where, like I said, it's not going to take anything out of your legs. That's why it's a threshold workout that week. Okay. So now let's step up again. 3K 2-mile. Okay. Warm-up drill strides, transitional pieces. With these longer reps, you do a couple 200s as a transitional piece if you want to do one. Okay. 2 to 3 times 200 at your goal pace with a 200-meter jog of the rep. So here, 18 days out, you can do a 3K rep at goal 5K pace. Okay. Whichever that is. Take an 8-minute recovery, always active recovery. Some jogging, some walking, get a little bit of fluid, right? Then after that, you do 2 times the 600 with a 2-minute recovery at your goal 3K pace. Okay. And then you do 2 times the 300 with a 1-minute recovery at your goal mile pace. So there it is, 3K, then 1,200 meters, 4,200, then 600 meters, 4,800 meters. 3 miles worth of time. There you go. Okay, 11 days out, your goal. Remember what you did 18 days out going into the mile? That 2K rep at your goal 3K pace, right? Now you can do it 11 days out if the goal race is 2 miles. Take a 5-minute recovery after that. Then you do 2 times the 500 with a 2-minute recovery at your goal mile pace. Then you do 2 times the 300 with a 90-second recovery, a 130 recovery at your goal 800 meter pace. The key piece here is a 2K rep. You need to know what it feels like to come through 2K at your goal 2K at your goal 3K pace or the goal 2 mile pace, and continue to add more volume after that. Okay, you add up the volume again. 2K times is 3K, 600, 3,600 meters of volume. Okay, and then the week of, 4 days out, Tuesday, 5 times 1K, 1 minute recovery at threshold pace. 3 minutes after the last rep, then you do one 500-meter rep at goal mile pace to simulate running that last batch of the race at your goal mile pace. And I've said this before, right? If the goal is a 5K, if you can close it at 3K pace, that's good. If the goal is a 2 mile, you can close it at mile pace, that's good. If the goal is a mile, if you can close that close to 800 meter pace, that's good, right? And that's what these workouts designed to do. That the closing part on race week is faster than race pace for your goal race. Okay, that's the point of it as well, to get you finishing faster than race pace. But you also test your readiness to be fit enough to put you in a position to outkick the people that you need to outkick in the front of the race. Hopefully in front of the race. So that's 3K and 2 miles. And we're going to finish with 5K. Okay, I've got one more for you. Okay, 5K or 5,000 meters. Okay, and it's generally, this applies more to outdoors, obviously. And you can modify as you see fit, but for indoors as well. But this is for folks who who did run cross country in a race that might be a little longer than 5K. Okay, so 18 days out here, the workout is 4 sets of 2K and 200. Okay, the 2 kilometer rep is going to be a goal 10K pace, whatever it might be. Take 30-second recovery, and then you run a 200-meter rep at goal mile pace. Then you take a 3-minute recovery. Then you repeat that for 4 sets. If you can only do 3 sets, then you do 3 sets. That's fine. But that's the key here. That's the strength component of it. Okay, then 11 days out, you're going to run a 3K at your goal 5K pace. That's what you did 18 days out when the goal race was 3, when the goal race was 2 miles, right? So 3K, goal 5K pace, 5-minute recovery, and 2 times an 800, 2-minute recovery at your goal 3K pace now. Then you do 2 times a 400 with a 1-minute recovery at your goal mile pace. Okay, so 3K plus 1,600 meters, 4,600 plus 800, 5,400 meters. 11 days out. And then the week of, 4 days out, 4 times an 800 at threshold pace. 1-minute recovery. Take 3 minutes after the last rep. Now you're going to do a 600-meter rep at goal 3K pace. Take 4-minute recovery, then 300s at goal mile pace. Just one. 1 600, 1 300 after the shorter workout. 4 times an 800. So the threshold workout leading into the 5K is shorter than the threshold workout leading into the 3K. But the finishing part afterward is a little bit longer. Not much, but generally for a 5K, people kick out from further out, right? They start accelerating from further out. And that's the whole point here as well, to get you ready. And even if you're running, going to run the 5K at National Scholastics or NCAAs or whatever it might be, these are good workouts leading up to that too. And again, you need to be strong enough to be able to step up in distance. You need to be sharp enough to be able to step down in distance. Some people that run the 2 mile run the 4x8. Some people that run the 5K run the 4x8 or run the mile, and so on and so forth, or run a 2 mile, right? So all these workouts test your readiness for your goal race and any complementary race that you're going to do leading into it. And even if you're only running the goal race, it still tests your readiness. Are you sharp enough? Are you fit enough, okay, to withstand this type of stuff? Are you sharp enough to accelerate when things get faster at the end of the race, right? All these things are directly tied into a cycle leading into your goal race. But again, like I said, have you done the work leading into it that puts you in a full position to take advantage of the cycle? Okay. And again, like I said, all the time, I'm doing this in a way where you can take advantage of these workouts. Okay. And even run a complementary workout, or generally where you're not racing as much. If you're racing as much, if you're racing a lot, then it's another reason why I do the 18, 11, and 4. It's a Tuesday, right? Let's just, with the condition, is your race going to be on Friday or Saturday? And here's just the one workout leading into the week for the 3 weeks leading into those races, right? So let me know if this makes sense, folks. If you have any questions. So those are the slides. Okay, leading into the 800, leading into the mile, leading into the 2 mile, leading into the 5K. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. And Multi-Kenny, you always ask good questions, man. I appreciate those questions you ask because these are real life situations too. Okay, and how do you, as a coach, make adjustments and sometimes on the fly if you need to, right? It happens on a regular basis. And what type of adjustment do you make on the fly, right? Because sometimes athletes have lofty goals, and that's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. Lofty, ambitious goals, but are they doable? Are they achievable? And how do we as coaches communicate the message? Okay, incrementally we'll work on getting there. We may not get there at this date, but we'll work on getting there. Okay, that's gonna be the next goal. I just sometimes we don't want to put a timeline on the goal, right? Because timeline means you have to get in a certain amount of work to achieve that goal in a certain period of time, right? And sometimes it's not always as achievable. Good, Multi Kenny. You're welcome. And this is the point. This is why I do this, right? Because again, I want to be able here to answer questions, learn from you guys and gals. Okay. And again, we could talk about if there are adjustments that you need to make. Real life discussion. How do we as coaches make adjustments when we need to? Sometimes we have to make adjustments when we don't want to. It's just that's what happens, right? It's okay to be ambitious. It's okay to have the goals. It's okay to, and we could be doing the work towards getting there, but sometimes it takes a little longer to get to the goal. You could be doing the work. You could be doing the work, but it's not translating on the track yet in the race. I've seen this more often than not. I remember a kid in high school in New York. He was a 9-minute 2 miler, 9-minute 2 miler, and he was coming off a really big cross country season. But in the track season, he wasn't running any faster than 9:20. It's like, oh my God, what is going on here? What is going on? And then one day, towards the end of the season, he ran sub 9 minutes. Okay, he did the work, but it doesn't always translate in a race when you want it to. And then we would say, welcome back, man. It's just, it was frustrating for him. It was frustrating for the coaches, but it was good to see it actually happen, right? Like I say, too, it doesn't always happen when we want it to happen. And we have to be okay with that. And how do we make adjustments? And just because you could be doing the work doesn't mean you're not 9 minutes fit. And that's just another reason why I have these benchmarks. Are you coming through 2K at your goal pace? Are you coming through 3K at your goal pace? 1200 at your goal pace? If you're close, that you're not that far away. That's the whole reason why I do these benchmarks too. And benchmarks for multiple distances. That's why I step up and do a benchmark. Okay, benchmark at, and then step down and do some speed on the week of. I want to make sure that you can see whether you're fit enough or your athletes are fit enough to do that. Okay, and this is where the accumulation of training comes into play. If you do the work leading into it, it's more likely that you're going to be able to hit these milestones, whatever the goal may be. Right? If it's 2 minutes, if it's 4:30, if it's 12 minutes for 2 miles, 11 minutes, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Whatever it is, this just allows you to tangibly track your readiness, and versatility is important too. That's why training. I always emphasize training in multiple paces. If the goal is a mile, make sure you're training at 3K and 5K pace. Make sure you're training at intermediate pace. Okay, if your goal is 2 mile, make sure you're training at 5K pace. Make sure you're training at mile pace, whatever it might be. If goal is 800, make sure you're training in mile pace and 400 meter pace. Okay, strength to step up, speed to step down. Training at multiple paces increases your versatility. Also increases your readiness for different race situations. You have an intermediate. I'll give you an example too. I looked at some conferences, some conference championship races this week. It's on YouTube, and I think it was the Big Ten, and both men's and the women's mile race. Okay, the men's race. Okay, they went out in 2:18 for the 800. 2:18, which is slow for that conference. And then they ran 4:11, meaning they finished in 1:52. They went out 2:18 to finish in 1:52. The women, okay, the women went out in 227 and came back in 209, right? It's just crazy, crazy negative splits. But had they not done the work leading into that point, people wouldn't have been able to run that, right? But these insane negative splits happened yesterday in the Big Ten. If you look it up too, you'll see it on YouTube. The men's race and the women's race, they both in the mile, they both started out very slow, and then that last 800 was just an insane drive to the finish. That happens more often than not. Okay, not every race is going to go out blazing from the guns. Testing that'll happen in NCAA's most likely because it's a little bit different. Okay, but again, it also happens sometimes where they run a 402 mile. You have 350 milers running a 402, but they're finishing in 50 point in the 400. Some of these races come down to crazy kicks because they're tactical. You're gonna need to score points for your team, right? So generally, you're gonna go with the race, but are you fit enough to be able to outkick the people? This is why I talk about knowing your competition, right? If it's a mile, if you know you're running up against some 800-meter runners stepping up to the mile and some 2-mile runners stepping down to the mile, who's going to be there, right? Knowing your competition is important. Knowing your readiness for a race is important. Preparing yourself for all different types of situations is important, right? So, does that make sense, guys? And let me know if you have any more questions before I wrap this up. I'll let you go. So enjoy your weekend. I always appreciate you coming on here and asking questions and talking. It's how we learn from each other. I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to keep doing it every week. Okay. And we'll continue to talk about stuff like this as well. And I mean, even transitioning from indoor to outdoor. You're going from the longest season to the shortest season. What do you do? Right? How do you make it work? Have you set up your schedule yet for outdoors? Can you set up your schedule yet for some races? Do you have a goal race for the outdoor season? Or goal 2 races. I want to run the best here at Arcadia. I want to run the best at Penn Relays. I want to run the best at states or nationals, whatever it is. Do you have a target, a goal for your athletes, your team, yourself? And what might it be? Right? And maybe we'll talk about that next weekend. What do we need to do to put the pieces together to get you to the goal? Right? Any other question, guys? You're welcome, Multi-Kenny. And thank you for constantly being in dialogue here, constantly engaging, constantly asking questions. Again, I learn from you too. Remember, it's not always from me to you. It's also from you to me. Okay. And as coaches, it's important for us to learn from each other. Right. I mean, I've been coaching for 22 years now, but that doesn't mean that I know everything. I've coached in high school and college doesn't mean I know everything. I still learn from coaches. Right. What works. And when you modify to continue to keep it working, this is where the coaching with the ice, where the science comes into play. This is where the willingness to learn comes into play, right? And I thank you for it, gang. So with that said, I'll let you go. Have a great weekend. Okay. Hope you had a great week. Have a great week moving forward. And we're heading into championship season now, if you're not already there. All right. So good luck to you this weekend, next weekend. Let's go get them. I'll be back here next Sunday. See you then. Peace, guys.